Welcome back to looking at concepts and principles in the Christian Kenpo system. Today we're going to be looking at thrusting palms, the last technique for yellow belt in the Christian Kenpo system. Let's look for a moment about the catalyst and intent and our response to the attack. This is our second when then in yellow belt. Thrusting palms is a front bear hug, 2 arms pinned from our green zone from 12 to 9:30 and 2:30 on the clock principle. We're going to be using purposeful compliance to go with the attack. We're going to be using a bracing angle to prevent him from continuously pushing us into a vehicle or to a wall. We're going to be using borrowed balance to continue our attack and to get out of the situation. We're also going to be manipulating our opponent's height, width, and depth in order to give us time to escape. We're going to be using pinning of our opponent to ourselves to affect borrowed balance, to affect a knee and a kick. We're also going to be contouring using our leg and pushing our opponent towards his imaginary third leg to affect our escape. But before we get to those concepts and principles, let's look at the method by which we're going to use our lower half in this defense. Once again, we want to use Kenpo from the ground up. We have a saying, hips control feet, feet control hands. Elbows aim strikes, and knees aim kicks. Our hips determine the path of our feet, not the other way around. And that is very true here in thrusting palms. Once I'm grabbed, I'm going to go with, purposely comply with the grab. And I'm going to find a moment of balance in which I go into this forward stance or forward bow to create a bracing angle with my back leg and prevent him from further tackling me or throwing me to the ground. That is the method. That is the foot maneuver method, postmodern Kenpo method that we're going to apply to the lower half motion of this technique. Once again, I get grabbed. I'm going to purposely go with the attack and find my balance and go into this forward bow. Hips are forward, shoulders are forward. I've dropped my hips in and down to drop my weight. And from this position, even little 7, 8, 9-year-old kids can hold my 235 pounds pressing in on them because of that bracing angle. Back up. What is the catalyst and intent in this technique? Obviously, the first motion that you're going to see is the double hand front arms pinned bear hug. Now this catalyst can come up in a couple of different intentions. It could be if it's towards a smaller child or a woman, to abduct them, to pick them up and to place them into a vehicle or into a building in order to kidnap them. Or if it's towards an adult, is to either pile drive someone or to slam them, to hit them with the planet, so to speak, is to throw them down to the ground, to knock them unconscious or to cause bodily injury. Whether or not the intent is either to pick up or to slam, we need to prevent the intent by disrupting the catalyst. And we're going to be disrupting the catalyst. We'll just walk through without an opponent, an imaginary opponent, and walk through how we interrupt the catalyst. Once again, I get grabbed from the front. He's coming in with his shoulders and his weight, all that backup mass. I'm going to go with it. And as I find my balance and go into that forward stance or that forward bow, I'm going to use the palms of my hands to press on both of his iliac crests, creating a change in his height and his width at the same time. I'm going to further compound that by using my left arm to come up and hook his right arm and to pin him to myself, further corkscrewing him down into the ground so that he's not able to lift me up or to continue to drag me wherever it is he wishes. I am then going to further interrupt his intent by kneeing, borrowing balance from this pin to knee him in the bladder and contouring with my leg to kick out his left leg with my right, pushing him towards his imaginary third leg. As I land from the kick, I'm going to push him off and away from me and escape to a zone of sanctuary on either line 3 or line 4 from the universal pattern. Let's talk about weapons to targets for a moment. I'm going to borrow Jarek again. Everybody, comment down below and say thank you to Jarek for being the crash test dummy. This is a part of his training and education and working towards his first rank in Christian Kenpo, which he's been doing very well in. He has experience in other arts, boxing and jiu-jitsu being others, but it's been a lot of fun working with him for the last 6 months in Christian Kenpo. It was judo, not jiu-jitsu. With that, let's look at the weapons to targets. So what we are going to do is actually come from this direction here. Jarek is going to come up and wrap his arms around me. I don't know why I didn't see it coming, but I didn't. I wasn't ready, I wasn't prepared. So I'm going to go with his force and take a couple of steps back until I can find balance. My arms are pinned. I'm not going to try and break the hold with my upper body strength, especially if the defender's a woman or a child. They're not going to be able to break the bonds by their upper body strength. So instead, I'm going to use my palms of my hands into his iliac crest to create a decrease in his height and an increase in his width and depth. With that, I want to continue that motion. So my left arm is going to come up and hook his bicep and tricep and actually suck him into me. My left arm, if we spin around, or my right arm, is still pressing on his iliac crest, still creating that corkscrew motion, pushing him into the ground. From here, because my left arm is hooked, I can now borrow his balance to do the knee. Even if he's trying to pull me in, it actually serves to my benefit because I'm going to use that force, and force meaning force, to knee him in the bladder. I've still got this borrowed balance. I could stand here almost all day. I'm going to kick out that rear knee. And as I do so, he's now got his imaginary third leg towards my 12 o'clock. I'm going to push him towards that third leg and escape on one of the 45-degree angles, either line 3 or line 4, using the universal pattern. So once again, weapons to targets: palm heels to the iliac crest, knee to the bladder, right side kick to just above his left knee. Let's look at the concepts and principles that are within this. Firstly, there was purposeful compliance. As Jarek came in, I purposely went with it. I'm not trying to fight it immediately. If I try and fight it immediately, I might end up in a lot worse position.
I might just pick up and drop.
Pick and drop it. There's the bracing angle in which I went into when I did find my balance, able to hold his force. For instance, Jarek, how much do you weigh?
220.
220. I'm going to push my arms out, and he's going to push all of his weight into me. I can hold him probably plus one more person behind him because of this bracing. I can hold him one hand with this bracing angle that's in the floor. Thank you. I'm going to let go carefully so he doesn't go on the floor.
Thank you.
I'm going to borrow his balance. So when I am hooked here and I'm continuously having that gap between my body and his, I can borrow the balance to perform the knee and the side kick. I'm going to continue to manipulate his height, his width, and his depth, giving me time to escape. The pinning motion of my left arm to his right arm gives me control, both contact and control manipulation of my opponent. I use contouring of my leg, my right foot, to go down from his bladder to his knee, and I push him away towards his imaginary third leg to make sure that he cannot get up and respond and continue his intent. Well, I hope you've learned something from this video, that these concepts and principles that we've gone through, you learn, you understand, and that you teach. See you again next time as we start to dissect Christian Kenpo orange belt and the techniques contained in it. See y'all next time. Bye.